Yeah, good morning. I thought that ain't nothing better to do. Come out for a few minutes. But we just woke up a little while ago and just sitting here talking a little bit. But yeah, I just tell my wife it's much easier to have everything else that you don't really want anything right now to do with than the average, person might. But you know, I told her it's much easier to take and go get clothes, food, pets, you name it. And when you think about the difference between a human being and pets, there is a lot of difference. Number one, when you think about all the things that a human being is out there doing versus what a pet normally does for their day, they don't have to go to work. They don't have TV. They don't have a phone. All the things that would make a person go batty trying to get to know an actual person is actually much tougher. You don't see a dog going into a hospital, do you? For every little nick and thing that happens to them. No. But every time we get a little scrape, a little cut, or, some people are just like that. And I'm not saying me and my wife is, but it's like, you could find people to just be, you know, oh my gosh, got this. I got a bruise on my butt. You know, it's just stupid. When you sit and think about how hard the person really is and what me and my wife has hoped for, it's tough. You're backed into a corner. You know, I told her, I said, well, if you thought about it, people most time they have jobs. Most time they meet people every day, the people they work with. Most of these people probably done taken up, probably, married. A dog doesn't have to worry about going to a wedding, right? Dogs don't have that. They can just, when they have puppies, they don't have to worry about money and all that because they know people come out there and feed them, right? They don't have the same problems. Yeah, they probably go out on a run. I remember my favorite dog of all time that I liked the best was Lex. He'd go out for his evening run and know when to come home. He had like a timer in his head. He knew about when it was feeding time. So he'd come home and he know exactly. Most time, all the other dogs would go with him sometimes too, but they all wouldn't come home exact time he would. But he loved going out there and get his exercise. But trying to get people off the phone and away from the TV and away from just things in society or trying to people are just naturally a different kind of breed of you know we're a different breed of animal. We can talk and think and we worry about the news and dogs don't worry about the news, right? They don't worry about it. They don't have a goddamn clue what's going on in this world. But they don't have to sit through a boring church service. They don't have to, the least that the dogs can do is sometimes be a help to serve a if you get a certain kind of dog that and you can train dogs to be police officers, canine unit dog thing. Uh-oh. What? What happened? Oh, bless your heart. But no, I mean, I'm just sitting there thinking about how human beings are different from actual animals. Yeah, there's animals out there, of course, that don't like other animals, and some of them are picky. But a lot of times, I'm not going to say it's just a man's best friend, but I think it's just about anybody's best friend. I was reading, actually, what got me on this and thinking was a lady put out there, oh gosh, a lady put out there while ago, a post that you put out, or one of them things that you share. I was reading it, and it says I'm single because of you know asking for too much, basically. You know, asking. Yeah, it's asking for a lot to have one person to try to get to know them inside and out, because you may match certain ways. Like I said, you don't have to worry about politics and religion with dogs, cats, or whatever. They don't care. They could give a rat's ass whether that stuff's on TV or not. But we do. See, and I don't say that it's me and my wife, but the general population does. Let's just say that. And it's the way they were made. See, where we would have to scratch and claw, and like I told my wife, a person is more likely to, and I told her, I said, adopting a dog is much easier. I mean, at least a dog you don't have to pay anything for by law. And at least if you wanted something free, there you go. But the problem then becomes, if you wanted to go somewhere like me and my wife would like to with a person, you can't do that with a dog. A dog can't drive a car. A dog or a cat can't do the things that human beings can do. They're limited. Dogs are good, and cats and all that stuff. They're calm, and I've been around a few, but there is a lot of differences when you think about trying to get a human being to see what you're trying to get them to see. A dog might can sense it because they like to be loved on. They like to be petted, and it's much easier because I know this because I've seen dogs. I've also seen some that bite your head off. But the thing is, and I don't get around very big dogs. Lex was a pretty big dog, but I knew he was friendly. My granny had raised him for a good long time. But it's a pain in the ass because it's 10 times more likely a person's going to do you wrong. Dog ain't never going to do you wrong. Cat, your own pet, is there because you're there to feed it. You don't have to worry about going out there. I mean, if me or my wife ran out of food right now, just saying, we'd have a harder time than a dog or a pet. Because we're not looked at, even though we are animals in our own way, and we're classified as an animal, but we're meaner to each other than dogs and cats and everything combined normally. I mean, I wouldn't want to be around lions and tigers and all those things, alligators, snakes. But yeah, I mean, it's really something to think about. And like I told her, I said, they don't go, we're worse. People generally out there in the world are worse at going to a doctor every time they get a scratch, an itch, or something. And a dog doesn't complain. Cats don't complain much. I mean, if they're getting ready to die, they'll go off in the woods and go somewhere. But we're complaining and moaning and groaning and bitching and everything else. Not saying me or my wife, just the general public. That's what you see. And that's why I don't think that you can classify, because I've heard, well, a best friend for a woman's a diamond. No, it's not. No, it's not. That's just some made up cliche because, like I said, everything can be anybody's best friend. Hell, if I wanted Jury to be my best friend, that'd be my best friend. Oh, Derek, you're a guy. It doesn't matter. Yeah, I ain't gonna go out there and wear fucking $10,000 things and clothes and all that stuff. But generally, Just like my wife has figured, I'm not like every other man she's probably seen. I'm not big on tools and things of men. I'm not big on having other men around me much. I mean, like I said, occasionally I might meet one in the store, and I might go up to them, and I might, if they just talk to me, and I can know that I can have a conversation with them, you know, and there's a few, but not many. But yeah, when you get down to the brass tacks, dogs don't have to worry about bills to have to pay. They don't have to worry about nothing. Where there's a similarity to dogs and humans, if you think about it, and like I said, we're all animals, but where there's a difference too, if you think about it, is on time that you have to worry about uh, dogs, paying for dogs in any way, uh, financially is or where there is similarity. Excuse me, I got off on a different topic. But I was going to say medicine. A lot of times dogs have to have medicines for certain things, and a lot of times, like I said, unless their legs broke. I mean, they can operate on animals, but it's not as much of a guarantee that they'll make it. But they're getting more like humans in that way. You see a lot more of that. Now that's where a dog can get a little bit costly. But I mean, otherwise, I mean, if you think about it, it's much easier doing that than it ever would be. And I know, like I said, me and my wife would hope and have hope for a while, but it's going to be a miracle that if that happened for us to, have a this unicorn thing take off. Because like I said, we'd like to get out there, get where we can find somebody, like she said, go out and do a fun thing once in a while. It don't have to be every day. I mean, most time, me and my wife's okay with the usual, but I mean, we'd like to every now and then at least go out and have a planned day to go out and do something a little bit special. It don't have to be the most expensive thing. Just getting out and going to the park, some park, not the same one all the time, but just changing something up a little bit and seeing a little bit of different scenery, maybe or something. It ain't hard to please us, but the problem becomes, people are animals too, but our problem is, and most general public's problem is that they got all this other crap that they're more worried about that dogs aren't. Dogs are more afraid of a storm, and they can tell you if a storm's fixing to come. Just like I can smell a storm when a person's sitting in front of me. I can almost tell you without having to know anything about them. I can almost smell a rat. When yins are fixing to lie, when yins are fixing to cause a problem, I can kind of tell by the way you look at me, how you're, you know. And speaking of that, my wife said Gene was down there and said, "Stop that." Well, you can. A person gives off bad vibes. If you care to notice, if you care to pay attention, you can honestly tell when a person's about ready to fuck you over. You can tell when they're fixing to tell you a lie, some type of fib. I mean, it's easy if you care to know. All you got to do is watch with your own eyes and listen with your ears. If it doesn't match what because like I said, a dog or any type of pet, you can take in and give a home. You just can't do that for a human being. For us as animals, it's different. There's a different classification for us as animals. I mean, you don't get every animal to be able to do what we do and talk. So, that's, so we have a lot more, things that make dogs happy. doesn't necessarily contribute to a human being's happiness. So, you know, it is. There's a lot of difference in these two things, and I just thought about it. So I thought, man, like my wife said, man, it's so hard. It is. It's like I said. There's no. You could go out there and get a dog a damn a fucking pool to go in, one of the little key pools or something. I mean, you wouldn't have to go to an expensive place just to go have fun for a dog or a cat, whatever you got. It doesn't take much to make them happy. You just coming out the damn door makes them happy. If I was to walk out the door, me and my wife was to see anybody out here, they'd probably turn their nose up at us. We're more disrespectful to our own selves than the damn fucking pets are. That's why me and my wife can't be around just any old body. Because you disrespect other people worse than you do your damn animals. And so again, that's when you think about it, it's sad. Because I mean, God says this, God says that. I know He says a lot of things in that book. I'm gonna go feed that baby kitty. Oh, did I remind you of something?
Yeah, there's a kitty that plays with me.
Okay. You give him a bite.
He plays with me.
I reminded her of something. Oh, you can go out there and play with your cows, whatever you want to do, okay?
He's gonna come to me first.
But anyway. Oh, I was eating a sandwich. Sorry. But no, we trying to see what that was. But yeah, we have more problems, it seems like, out in this world that I think if we just looked at it from where we're making mistakes and where dogs might make mistakes, their mistakes are far fewer. And they seem to get more compliments and more what did but they seem to get more more attention. And then they can be black, brown, white, whatever, have spots on them. Everybody always brags on them every day. I mean, even though, if you're lucky enough, everybody, like I said, doesn't find what they look for. But if they treated everybody, color's the same thing with animals. But everybody doesn't seem to really see that in animals, like dogs and cats. But us human beings seem to always worry about what's the outside. Where people are so much different. They treat them so much nicer and so much better. Pets have feelings too, but as long as you're out there petting them, they're so much better to do, so much easier. I wish we could say the same thing for us as animals, and how we treat, people. But it just matters. There's more things that matter to us, and that we can't seem to put down. Like I said, taking me and my wife out, but the general public, you just can't seem to get, to like certain things. And like a dog can. You can go out and, they'd be happy. I mean, the only thing I've known a dog not to like is sometimes other dogs or the light meter man or something like that. I was around a dog like that Lex. The light meter man couldn't jump out of the back of the truck because of Lex up there. But my grandmother's at the time. But yeah, I mean, we're just if you think about it and analyze and we might need to take our lesson or two from the dogs and the cats that we have, and not saying we can do everything that they do. Of course, they got it easier in most cases. All they have to do is sleep and walk and eat and give them a drink. We're there for them in every way. If we love them, we take care of them. Well, the same thing me and my wife would hope for, a person, but asking another lady to be as nice or as good about certain things is like trying to pull my own teeth out because I couldn't do it. You know, it's a whole different ball game when we're, you know, and like I said, it's easier. It's also easier dealing with, I guess, it's easier dealing with people on a part-time basis in a way than it would be an animal. I mean, an animal likes all the attention all day long as you can go out there and give it to them. But people get annoyed by having people around after so long, and most people can't handle what we're hoping for. Because they've either got some other distraction or somebody else in their family, or someone else. Dogs just have dogs. They don't have, and they have their owners, but they don't have any girlfriends and boyfriends and exes have to worry about. They get along just fine, you know. And I wish we could just think about that and use that to help us and to really put two and two together and maybe, try to fix some of that and treat other people the way they want to be treated. They don't even have to worry about wrong phone number. Everyday things that an animal like us has to worry about, they don't have to worry about. People bugging them, bothering them, unless they're out in the woods somewhere and there's somebody out hunting, they don't usually have to worry about being shot at or killed. Whereas we do, because we just can't seem to help ourselves, We, like I said, barring me and my wife from there, I mean, we would do somebody so much good if the person and people generally just could quit watching news, quit worrying about quit worrying about what you did to yourself, and just take responsibility for the things you did wrong, you know, and manage those things better, manage your bills better, manage everything better. You're not perfect, but you can manage everything better, just like a dog can. But they don't have as many things on their plate, as we do. So again, just kind of one of those lesson things I thought of in my head, We don't care about things as much as the dog does. And I know right now if my wife and I could have it, and it would make a world of difference, you know. And if our bestie or unicorn had a calm pet or something you could pet and love on, we wouldn't care to take that as part of their package. But I was just, you know, that's what makes human beings so much tougher. And they use mental illness, or they say that, you know, mental is being classified as an illness. It's not really classified as an illness in my book. It's like I said, people rely on things too much. On certain areas, they get comfortable and they know right from wrong, and we know right from wrong. You know, dogs can't get locked up in jail. Dogs can't. You know, they go to the dog pound. That's as close to jail they got. If they're bad and they don't straighten up, but or they just put them to sleep. But us as human beings, there's in us as animals too. I mean, because we're classified as an animal, but we're so much different from everything else, and we don't think a lot before we speak. I would say if dogs could talk, they would be a lot nicer than most human beings are. They'd probably be saying the words "I love you" and all that stuff. No, dogs and cats and any kind of pet out there, they could be, you know, anybody's best friend, not necessarily a man's, anyone's best friend. But what me and my wife hoped for or had hoped for, it it may not happen. It's just it's the reality of what we came up with. And I had somebody that came out of nowhere. Why people still think it's a joke, and they still find some way to come out and say, "Oh, that was too pretty," or "This was too that," or whatever. Of course, because you don't look like that now, or Regina don't look like that, or whoever. And like I said, one of these days, Star's gonna be in the same boat. My mom's already in that boat. If you took my mom, for example, my own mother, when she was in her teens and in her 20s, she looked like I don't know what, man. She looked like $1,000,000 out there. I mean, I've seen some old pictures of my mother, and man, I mean, no wonder everybody wanted to you know, fall in love with her, the way she looked, the way she did her hair, whole 9 yards. But all the personal problems, and see, dogs don't even have to worry about drugs. They don't have to worry about alcohol. They don't have to worry about smoking cigarettes. You never see a dog smoke a cigarette or drinking a beer or none of that stuff. What people find in this world to do is beyond me. To hurt themselves, to make excuses, the whole 9 yards. That's something else the dog didn't have to do. That's why they live. They outlive, sometimes they even outlive the people that owns them because of things they do to themselves every day. Dogs take care of themselves every day, no matter their age. Yeah, when they get up in the years, they may feel feel better just laying around, not really doing as much. And their ages are times by seven. So when they're one, they're 7 years old. When they're two, they are 14. So on. So by the time they've lived 10 years of our life, they've lived in dog years, they've lived, whatever, let's see, 70 years. Yeah, 70 years. So, like I said, it's a lot different from all that. We just don't take care of ourselves. We worry about, you know, bills and what other people think about what we're doing, and we let other things clog our mind up. And, we just don't have a good thought in our head for a majority of people anymore. because we're forced not to be able to love or to care for anything. We get older, we get treated badly for other things. We just can't seem to, you know, put two and two together. A lot of us out there, all over the world, all over the United States, people can't make peace and can't leave each other alone. They feel like it's like they've got to be the exact opposite of a pet and a dog. It's exactly the problem, you know. We're, you know, people are attention whores. Dogs, they just go about their day. They go out, go in the water, go take a go take a swim out in the summer. They go out for a walk. They go out and if they like to play ball, you can go out there and toss them a ball. They'll go out there and play ball with you. If you want to play frisbee, they'll go out there and catch a frisbee. If they're those type of dogs that like that. Like I said, every dog's sort of like us, but they're not as bad and picky. We probably need to take a couple of lessons, out here on the social media world, and probably need to treat things, not probably, but should 100% definitely treat people differently. And, if it's men that we're into, women we're into, or if we're, if a person's bisexual or whatever it is, but I still treat, even though I'm more for women, talking to women than I am, guys, I still treat a guy if I see him in the store nice. If they're looking for something, if they would just want to say hi and talk for a minute and ask us how our day is, I still treat them good because I don't bring them home. I'm not offering this unicorn vesties thing to them, but they're not worried about it. And that's all right. But like I said, it's hard dealing with human being and trying to help them with their problems like you can a dog. A dog, if they're upset and they're crying, it's probably because you're not paying them enough attention. They want to go up to you. They want attention. Human beings, it's like they're trying to tell you, oh, I need my own personal space. Oh, I need this. Oh, I need that. Where you could give a back rub, a massage. You can, you can make a dog smile 10 times more than you can humans. We're all, like I said, we're all classified as animals too. So, we just need to think about a lot of this stuff, and try to not, take advantage of just because we can do more than dogs can in certain areas doesn't mean we ought to treat each other so badly. But I'm assured that, the world might learn something off this video, maybe. If they don't mind me trying to take a bite of my sandwich. But in a general sense, I know now exactly why humans, men or women, treat each other badly. Because of the everyday stresses. The dog or a cat doesn't have to worry about. They don't have to. And we shouldn't either. For all intents and purposes, we should just go out there and do our job. Come home in a good mood every day, no matter what it costs you. If it costs you a couple of friends, do away with them. Don't sit there and try to argue with them. Don't try to fix it. If they're that difficult that they can't be like a pet and get along with you and be there for you in the worst of times, just like they can when there's things going good. If they can't do both right, get rid of them. That's like I said. You can go replace. You can replace it later. You can do yourself for a little while. Take a break. You know, dogs and us as an animal is different. You know, I would like somebody to give everybody that's in their family attention. Never have an argument or disagreement. I wish it could be that way with my wife's and and my own families.
Yeah.
But they've gotten to where the older we've gotten, the less they want to see us, and they just want certain things to be done this way and that way, and they've got things they don't even, all the things a person can do. They, it's just they don't. Instead of using it like we should and like people should do, we abuse it. We try to stress people, and no wonder nobody doesn't. No wonder a actual human being lives shorter, or at least cuts a good portion of their life down. I mean, if you live to be 80, you might have been 100. Just think of every time you stress somebody out over something so stupid, or every time you watch one of these fucking TV shows or whatever. Just think how much, they're being stupid. They're worried about other kids going out there and getting pregnant. So what? Hold them to. If that was the case, if somebody said, "Hey, oh, that's a good reason to get upset," don't get upset at them. Explain it to them. Set them down and say, "Look, you know." And if they can't reasonably come to where you're coming from, then let them go. Let them run out there in the world and get lost. There'll be a day, just like I told the one I dubbed the crack whore, you know, because she wouldn't listen to me. She wanted my help. She wanted my wife's help, she said, but she had all this other stuff that was clouding her brain on purpose. She was more, she wanted that more than she wanted help. She had all that other stuff that she promoted and all that other things that she, you know, like I said, I didn't want to have to make her out to be a bad person. She did a good job doing it herself. And that's why I said I want to be very careful about who we speak to, and we're going to make sure they know exactly what's expected of them and what. Like I said, a dog you wouldn't have to tell this to, but a human being you have to treat differently. Even though we're all classified as animals, we just can't treat, for whatever reason, we just can't seem to think about all these things that, in a different light, like Dog said, I think if my final point is, if we could all see it in the dog's light and how the dogs deal with us and their owners, majority of the time, we'd all be at peace. We'd all want our families around us all the time, no matter their age, no matter what they look like. We should treat them with respect no matter what. If we watched less news, not saying cut it out cold turkey, but if we watched less news that didn't involve us, if we didn't worry about the stuff of the world and the politics portion, now which me and my wife don't, but if we didn't worry about that, we would be so much better. Just think how much more sleep at night we'd get, how much more smiles we'd have. if we just meditate a little bit, not overdo it, but just sit there and think about things, maybe reminisce on old times. Like me and my wife will do sometimes. We'll sit down here and talk about the worst of things, but make something good of it and come to a better understanding of why you can't have fun with those kind of people anymore. Whether it's your own family or whether it was friends of yours or if y'all want to call them girlfriends or whatever, you know, there's a reason why everybody turns, but it's because they neglect to see that a dog is actually trying to teach us something, a pet, a cat, a bird, anything. They're trying to show us every day how to behave, how we could be better people to each other, and how we could, as human beings, if we didn't take religion out of context and we applied it to our heart, no matter what the religion was. If somebody else you met had a different religion, sit down there and let them explain it to you. You might learn something. I think a lot of people, and I practically know a lot of people, are afraid to learn anything new. They're always stuck in their own ways. I'm not afraid to compromise where I need to be, but I don't need to learn much of anything new because I know what's right. And if you're not on our level, then we certainly wouldn't be able to help you. But if you wanted our help and you liked our advice and you knew that was the way to go, and you didn't say, well, you're controlling me and you're doing this. A dog, like I said, you don't have to control a dog. A dog, if they don't like the owner they're with, they're not going to be nice. But if they like you, they're never going to be a problem. I mean, like I said, they may poop in the yard, they might do that. But most dogs, if they respect you, they'll go out in the woods or they'll go somewhere and they'll try to get to a place where you won't get that on you. That's about the only other thing. But like I said, dogs and cats and all this stuff is actually a good teaching mechanism for us to learn. To learn that us as human beings need to actually learn some manners and be respectful. I wonder why my wife would rather go out and visit the cows and all that stuff. Because sorry about that. But I wonder why she wants to always go out and pet the cows and play with the cat out here, play with the dog, because y'all don't know how to treat her. Y'all don't know how to treat me. You take things out on me. She doesn't want. She doesn't want just a friend. She don't want a girlfriend. She don't want just a text buddy. Just like dogs don't want just women. They don't want just men. They want both. All of us need to want both. In some form or fashion. Now, like I said, I'm not the biggest guy fan. I don't hunt. I don't fish. I don't do a lot of that stuff. But if it's your dad or you was to have somebody that was a close friend of yours and they were really nice, I wouldn't have much of a problem in going up to them and saying something nice to them. Hey, my name's Derek, yada yada yada, and tell them something about me. Whatever they ask, I'll answer. I don't have a problem. But the problem of it is a lot of people like to play Splitsville. Like I told my wife, y'all, if there's a married couple and another married couple, the woman wants the man to man thing to go that way, and the woman thing goes. It's stupid. That's why we've tried it. It's no fun. If we can't have anything nice then we don't want our time wasted. So that's why we came up with this female unicorn bestie deal, because someone out there, just like any dog, male or female, they want lovings. They want to be petted. They want to be cared for. They want to be hugged or kissed or whatever. They want all that. They want talked to. They want our attention. Well, if there's a woman out there that can relate to this video and can, just do the right things, make everything stress easy, not make everything so less stressful, and make things enjoyable and smile and laugh and be bubbly and just bring a smile to our faces, it would make us a world of difference. And we would do the same for you. Whatever color you are, wherever you came from, it doesn't matter. If it's asking too much to for you all out there to come up here just because we have a handicap and because we don't do y'all's normal things with the cards and all the crazy stuff that y'all ask for, and y'all ask for ridiculous stuff. Well, why don't you show me your ID? Well, why don't y'all show y'all's ID? Do you think a dog ever asks us about that? Do you think they care about the paperwork? No. They're not worried about it. Their owner puts it up, and that's where it stays. I mean, like I said, y'all to treat people when they give you a number, when there's an option, as a video cam option, if there's stuff like that out here, let's use it for something positive. Let's get to know somebody on a personal level after you've asked them a couple of questions. Let's see who we're talking to. Let's just not use pictures all the time. Like I said, we could apply how a dog treats most human beings out in the world. Like I said, there's a few dogs that just don't care, but most dogs, if you're a pet owner, you know what I'm talking about. And it's sad to see how we've come to treat not only our own families, because we have no choice in the matter, because again, they don't see the lifetime, they don't see in having a lifetime relationship with somebody that's family to you. They don't, once you're of age, they don't no longer, most of the time, don't care about what you do with yourself. No wonder people needs to feel like they need to go out there and explore all these other options. But it's no good if you can't apply it yourself. You've got to help yourself before any other thing out in this world can help you. I don't care if it's a counselor, if it's over the phone stuff, a psychic, I don't care what you rely on. But I'm just saying, dogs and cats and most pets out there in the world love having all the attention in the world and being around as much as humanly possible. Around, they get enjoyment out of seeing us. Why can't all of us band together and say, look, yeah, we may not treat men the same way that we treat women, or men in general might be gay and they might like to be around men and they might want to do that type of thing. And some girls out there may be, a lesbian or something, and they may just want to be around girls. That's their choice. But you know what? We can't be just like a pet in all ways. But you know what? The people we come in contact with, we ought to try to treat them with respect. Because what if a brother or a dad of that person came around and said, hey, I want to get to know this girlfriend or this wife of yours. And then and then you try to introduce them to the opposite person, and then they go and treat them like garbage. What if a person did that? I'm just saying. And even though I'm not for the men and men thing, it is what it is. The laws are the laws. They made it easier for everybody to kind of be a couple in any way they wanted to, pretty much. But as I told my wife, I said, yeah, we can't go out there and pay a big bunch of money to adopt an actual person, an actual lady. But what we can do is if a lady is good enough to take us for what we got and what we are, and we're able to get along with that person, and she's not after our money, and she wouldn't be after our things and make us feel like we're miserable and we couldn't go up to her and couldn't treat her the way we'd like to be able to treat her. And like I said, it's not always about, you know, having sex, or nothing like that. Most people, that's what's the difference. A dog doesn't go around telling everybody, "Oh yeah, we had sex today." You'll find out whenever you see new puppies. Y'all don't get mad at them for having new puppies. So why does everybody get mad at us for having more kids? You know why? Because they realize that it's going to be 10 times tougher taking care of an actual human being as an animal than it is an animal taking care of their own animals, because we feed the animals. Like I said earlier, we will reach out there and give them what they need, which is mainly food and water. They don't have to have clothes. They've got fur. They already got that covered. See, I mean, if you want to give them a blanket, you want to make them a dog house, okay, or a cat, a home, or whatever your pet is. But that's the problem, because we just naturally aren't happy with anybody having anything of their own. The minute that we want to reach out there and want to do something nice, and so what if these people in Decatur don't like that my wife will hang one of those things up? It's just to put it out there, just in case somebody said, "Hey man, I like this idea. I would like this." Some lady out there came to our door, you know, and was just wanting to be took in and just, respected and loved and cared for. It ain't about what you got financially. It's just about basically being able to love that person, black, white, purple, green, whatever. Ain't no reason to hate on them. As long as they understand that you mean well and they're good at taking advice, and you can talk to them just like me and my wife can talk to each other, you know, there ain't no problem, you know. But that's generally where the problems with people versus, having pets, you know, are different, because people just don't naturally get the progression of what is out there for us to do versus what is out there for a dog to do every day. There's 10 times more things to get in our way than there is an actual dog or a pet's life. You know, they might get into it with another animal. They may come across an animal, may have to fight to the death to try to, stay alive. But naturally, they stay wherever, it's home. And they know they're cared for. They know they're not, they don't never have to worry about, nothing. Unless an owner is being mean to their pets, that happens too. Sometimes, cruelty happens to them. But, you know, dogs are naturally easier to get along with than pets in general. And I wish that there was a way that a lot of these people could see this video. And I'm going to share it out there on Twitter and Facebook, things like that. I'm not guaranteeing that it'll make everybody treat everybody differently. But yeah, they don't get as animated as I do about certain things either. I mean, dogs bark till the kingdom comes home, but they're not able to talk. You know, they just come out and they'll do what they do and can do. You know, if you don't back up and don't leave them alone, they might come after you. So again, I just won't come out here and say, if we learn to take other people, in and all this, and like I said, I would take friends back in the day, but not certainly now, because friends doesn't always guarantee happiness anymore. Like I said, in the Bible's eyes, a woman was made from a man's rib, and they were supposed to be like a helpmate to us. But I feel like all they do is beat us up. All they do is most of the time they beat us up, and they doesn't share the same sentiments like they would to a woman. Whether it's the way their figure looks or whatever, but that wasn't the intent. You know, yeah. I mean, again, we have certain preferences, but when we get something like that, tall, short, you know, average body size, or whether it's, like I said, the only thing we didn't want somebody overweight because we wanted somebody we could do something with. I have no problem with them. I'm just saying we wanted somebody we could do a lot of our fun things with. But if you're out there and you're just family or something, this is why dogs versus human beings are not good to each other. Dogs can be better examples for us to go by, and cats and whatever else is a nice pet. But again, y'all are the main reason why it doesn't look like this is ever going to get turned around. Because no matter how good my wife and I are to someone, and I try to explain, I try to be nice. But as I said, a lot of people don't respect it. They don't come out in a way that other people should. So we naturally have this problem where it looks like it's going to continue. Like I said, it may help a few people out there to kind of understand what I'm trying to say. But again, just we need to try it. We need, and if, like I said, even if we don't want to take the option in, make them understand, in a good way. Say, hey, keep your head up. Somebody else will want what you're offering. We just, if because we get a lot of times, my wife will get, like she said, it's biased, sexist stuff. With her, they're wanting her to be their girlfriend, or they want her to, be a text buddy, or whatever. But she doesn't want that. She wants somebody that can like both. So far, nobody can get over the humps they already created for themselves. They can't understand it. You can't, just like every dog, it's not going to like every dog or every human being that's put in front of them. I'm not going to like every person that y'all brag about that's you say is good. I have to see it from my own eyes. My wife has to see it for her eyes. You just can't go and tell everybody that you're having a relationship with us. If you're our unicorn bestie, it's best to keep it to ourselves. Unless you know 100% that you would know they would come out and be supportive of it. But I would err on the side of let us have our moments. Let us see what the others like so we know all three of us can get along. And if it works out, then we'll tell them when it's time. We'll tell if you have people or friends or something, don't just toot their horn because you've been around them necessarily. They may not like what you're getting yourself into. So I would just say in closing, again, if you want to be our lady, our third, our unicorn, if you want to be that person, then come on. Like I said, we tried to look in Tennessee, we tried to look in Chattanooga, we tried to look in Cleveland, we tried to look in all parts of Tennessee, that's around here that we know is close, Athens, Decatur. So again, if you're on Facebook and you got a message from us, a nice hi, how are you or something. If you want to say something, you can. If you don't, you just want to accept a friend request, okay. But, you know, if you really feel our offer is something you can take and you can understand the handicapped person and you can understand my wife collecting her reborn dolls and all that stuff and why she does it, or if you're somebody that collects them and don't have a problem. I don't have a problem with kids, but sometimes kids don't get along with me. Sometimes kids do, sometimes kids don't. Depends on who it is, how you raised your kids. If they're rowdy, I won't be able to deal with them, so I won't be able to get you on the same page if I'm having to straighten one of them out. Just because I'm not their daddy doesn't mean that if as long as they're in my presence, I feel I have the right. If they're in my presence and my wife's presence and we want them to be quiet, we'll tell them to be quiet. Play. I don't like having to, I don't give out whoopings. My voice will do it for me. It'd be a verbal whooping. It won't be nice. If somebody tries to read me the riot act, I've had to get on to a couple of kids in my time when they wouldn't listen. And after about the second or third time they finally listened, we had some out here that were, drug addicts and stuff like that. And people had kids around that kind of stuff and people fighting and fussing out here. We got rid of all that out here. We don't have to worry about it because it just wasn't healthy. And no, like I said, I know that people in general just doesn't they just don't care. They care about themselves. We're lucky that we have a few nice people around here that down here at the store that we always go to if we needed a little something. We'll go down there and we'll see what like if we run out of something, we know this guy Gene Wade down there. He'll help us out if he can, but if he can't, and as long as it ain't all the time, he don't care to usually help you out. But like I said, he knows our situation. He knows why we want this. I don't know if he's seen, but Colleen out there, like I say, I always call her Chlorine. I just make fun of her name. But Colleen is getting her panties all in the water up there. And my wife said she caught her taking their stuff down. I don't care if she does. She's gonna have to know that my wife and I are gonna keep on putting it out there in a good light. If everybody else can put their crap up on that bulletin board, as long as Gene Wade himself doesn't have a problem with it and he don't come to us about it, it's not bothering him. It shouldn't bother you. So we'll continue to put 100 of these things up, not all at one time, but we'll continue to search in areas to put these things. There ain't but 2 or 3 places that we do put them right now. But, the one at the post office, you said still up. The one at the Pig always gets taken down. And I told her, I said, well, what about putting one up at the Family Diner? You know, I said I know there's a lot of people in there, so maybe there might be a way you could talk to them and put one of them up, tell them, because like I said, it ain't hurting anything. We're just trying to get the word out without, hurting people, by putting it on T-shirts and poster boards or making signs up out here because we know they would get taken up, and we know the landlord would get her paintings in a wad, and then everything else would be. I told my wife, I said, the way we're doing it, the way we're going about it on social media and other things, that's the way we need to go. And at the end of the day, if me and her eventually, if it don't happen today or a year or two from now or something, and we run out of patience with it, we can always let it go. But anyway, I was just going to kind of come out here and explain why, nobody seems to get along anymore. And actually, dogs and cats and all that stuff normally treat people better. We need to learn from them. But anyway, you know, I'm gonna get off here now. I'm gonna try to finish eating. But anyway, I'm gonna see you later.